Hi, my name is Karina Lucid, and I'm a bankruptcy attorney. And today I'd like to share with you a story of how we can make what we have seem like more. You see, that's really the story of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy case. So, once upon a time, there was a poor traveler, and he had a good friend. They traveled together, but they were always having trouble even finding their next meal. They carried with them the bare essentials, some pots to cook with and their beast of burden, and they walked about from town to town trying to find work, trying to find shelter, trying to find food. They happened upon this specific town, and the people in the town were really suffering too, and there was a lot of poverty and people complaining that they didn't have enough food, and everybody was looking to get a little bit more of a share. And these travelers went to house asking if anybody had some food to share, and everybody said no. One woman said, "I have just enough carrots to barely feed my own family." And another woman said, "I have a handful of turnips and nothing more, certainly not enough to spare for a stranger." And another one said, "I only have some spices, not even enough for a real meal for my family," etc. So they went through the town, every door being shut in their face. So they sat down in the center of town. They sat upon their bags, and they thought. The one traveler said to his friend, "I recall passing a small river on our way over. I think I'm going to get some water." So he went, and he filled up their largest pot with water. And he also brought back with him 2 stones. And he looked at his friend when he returned, and he said to his friend, "You know, I have a fantastic recipe that will feed us and the villagers." His friend said, "Oh, do tell." And so they were speaking very loudly and caught the attention of one of the close by villagers. And so they said, "Well, you know, it's an old family recipe, really. It's called Stone Soup. And you see, with this one stone in my bucket of water, I can make a pot of soup that would be enough to share. But it's too bad it's just going to be the 2 of us, because nobody wanted to share with us." And the woman nearby said, "Oh, well, what exactly is stone soup? I've never heard of such a thing." And so they said, "Oh, well, it's delicious. But I do have to say, my grandmother's recipe would have been better, perhaps if she had a little bit of extra spices in it, you know?" And the woman said, "Oh, well, it just so happens that I have some spices, certainly not enough to make a meal or a meal to share, but if you're sharing your soup, I'll give you some of my spices." And they said, "Oh, that would be splendid." So the woman on her way back passed another villager who was one of those that had some potatoes, and said to them, "Oh, you know, there are these travelers, and they have a recipe that will make enough soup to share with everyone, could possibly feed our whole village." So they said, "Really, let me come and see." And they put the spices into the pot with the stone and the water boiling, and they said, "Oh, this is very interesting." And the man said, yes, but I did always think that grandmother's recipe would be a bit better with some potatoes." And the man, of course, said, "Well, I happen to have a few potatoes. I mean, certainly not much, but if it'll help your recipe, sure, we can share that." So they put the potatoes in, and then the woman with the carrots put her carrots in, and they happened to go through the village little by little with just a few little things here and a few little things there, and they made a big pot of soup. And when it was done, the traveler removed the stones, and they had a pot of soup that made a bowl of beautiful, delicious harvest soup for every single person in the village. And they all had a good, sound meal that day. And the villagers were grateful. And the travelers then moved on. You see, the travelers may have tricked the people into sharing their vegetables and their spices, etc. But really what it came down to was teaching them that you can feed everyone if you just make what you have seem like a little bit more. And that's what a Chapter 13 bankruptcy case does. You see, in a Chapter 13, you take what's available and you reallocate it. And you pay each person some of what they're owed, and everybody gets something. And then everybody has enough. So if you're wondering how you can feed everyone when you're dealing with payroll restrictions and a limited budget and you feel like you're drowning, just remember that you may not be able to pay all your bills with